Some noxious weeds are more of a risk to humans than the environment. Giant hogweed, for instance, is a massive flowering plant. Initially, it was brought from Asia and planted in arboretums as a curiosity. It escaped and has since spread, particularly into riparian areas and urban sites. Laurel Shiner is an expert on giant hogweed.
This is a typical spot where you would find giant hogweed in an urban setting next to a stream bank. You'll also find it growing in gardens because it is planted as a garden curiosity. But giant hogweed contains a sap in the leaves and the stems, which when it comes into contact with the skin in the presence of sunlight can cause large weeping watery blisters. Now some of these blisters can leave permanent scarring and discoloration of the skin. As you can see, most of these flowers are pretty tall. A lot of them get up to 10 to 14 feet tall, the bigger ones do. We've got large leaves down at the bottom here and serrated along, jaggedy along the edges here. Some of them can be 4 feet wide and 5 feet long, so that's pretty big. Also has a large hollow stem with purple blotches along the stem, at the base of the stem, particularly down near the ground.
Giant hogweed grows well in rich, damp soils. It's well adapted to shady riparian areas, such as the banks of streams, rights-of-ways, parks, and other natural areas. It can outcompete native vegetation and quickly dominate ravines and stream banks. When it dies back in the fall, it leaves banks unvegetated and vulnerable to erosion. Giant hogweed is a challenge to control because the tuberous roots of the plant stay alive for years, and any seeds in the ground will continue to germinate. Currently, giant hogweed has been reported in 9 western Washington counties. Because it is a human health threat, it's targeted for eradication in Washington state. But there are still nurseries and seed companies that illegally sell giant hogweed. You should remove giant hogweed if you have it on your property or where your children play. But remember, the sap can cause a skin reaction, so make sure that you wear protective clothing and gloves if you are doing the removal.